May 29, 1453. Before the sun rises, the last emperor of Rome will be dead. 1,000-year-old empire will vanish and the world will never be the same again. This is the story of the final 24 hours of Constantinople. Imagine a city so powerful, walls that had never been breached in 1100 years, a capital where east met west, where golden domes caught the sunrise over to seas, and where the last emperors of Rome still ruled, long after Rome itself had turned to ruin. But by the spring of 1453, that world was already dying. Beyond the horizon, a young sultan named Mehmed had assembled the largest army Europe had seen in a generation. And he had brought something the ancient walls of Constantinople were never built to withstand. For 53 days, the Ottoman army had surrounded the city like a noose slowly tightening. Inside the walls, barely 8,000 defenders stood against more than 80,000 soldiers. The streets, once filled with merchants and silk traders, now echoed with prayer instead of commerce.
Have mercy on us, O God, according to thy great mercy, we pray thee.
Above them, the massive bronze cannons of Mehmed's engineer Orban thundered day and night, hurling stones the size of horses into walls that had stood since the age of Constantine. Each impact sent tremors through the ancient stone, and each night, exhausted defenders rushed to repair what the cannons had shattered by day.
Secure that beam now!
Emperor Constantine XI walked those walls himself, encouraging soldiers who all knew in their hearts that they were running out of time. The Byzantines had one great defense left. A massive iron chain stretched across the entrance to the Golden Horn, sealing the harbor from Ottoman ships. It had worked for weeks. Then Mehmed did something no one expected. In single night, his engineers built a road of greased logs over the hills of Galata and dragged 70 warships overland, floating them directly into the harbor behind the chain. When the defenders woke to see an entire fleet inside their protected waters, the psychological blow was almost as devastating as the physical one. The impossible had become real, and for the first time, despair began to spread through the city faster than any cannon fire. By May 28th, both sides sensed that the end was near. Inside the city, church bells rang through the night as citizens gathered for what many believed would be their final prayers together. Orthodox and Catholic standing side by side, their old rivalries forgotten in the face of annihilation. Constantine XI removed his imperial regalia, choosing instead to fight as a common soldier beside his men. Outside the walls, Mehmed addressed his own troops, promising 3 days of plunder to any man who breached the ancient defenses. 2 armies, one exhausted and desperate, the other young and hungry for glory, waited for dawn. At 1:30 in the morning on May 29th, the final assault began. Wave after wave of Ottoman soldiers threw themselves at the walls, and wave after wave were repelled by defenders fighting with the strength of men who had nothing left to lose. Then, in the chaos, someone left a small gate called the Kirkeporta unlocked. Ottoman soldiers slipped through, raised their banner on a tower, and the sight of that flag broke something in the defenders below. Panic spread like fire through dry grass. Constantine XI, seeing the end had come, tore off his imperial insignia and threw himself into the final fighting. His body was never identified. The last Roman emperor simply vanished into legend. By noon, the city that had stood for 11 centuries belonged to Sultan Mehmed II, who would be known as Mehmed the Conqueror. He rode through streets that had witnessed 1,000 years of empire and declared the city his new capital, soon to be called Istanbul. And yet, despite the siege, despite the cannons, despite one final catastrophic night, the city did not disappear. It transformed. Its churches became mosques, its markets filled once more, and it remains, to this day, one of the great crossroads of human history. The fall of Constantinople did not end an era, it began one. If you want to witness another empire's final hours, tell us in the comments which city or civilization we should bring back to life next. And if you want more journeys through history like this one, make sure you are subscribed for what comes next.